tonight.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Crackdown today on what may be a major money laundering source for mobsters in the U.S. Surprise, main suspects include a Yugoslav diplomat and a possible spy for the Soviet bloc. CBS News law correspondent Rita Braver has been investigating the mob and the Yugoslav connection.
It was the accused money launderers who got taken to the cleaners today in a U.S. customs sting in which Yugoslavian government officials allegedly helped American criminal syndicates hide illegal funds. Netted in Philadelphia, Vyacheslav Spaniol, a naturalized American, believed to be a top operative of the Yugoslavian intelligence service, and Hubert Cole, his Texas cohort. In Chicago, customs agents indicted the Yugoslavian consul general, Barudin Biedek, and in New York also indicted a major Yugoslavian bank and its chairman, Vinko Mir, arrested.
The bad guys were making money from laundering the money. They charged between 6 and 7% for laundering this money.
Customs here in Philadelphia began the operation in an effort to crack money laundering rings. Undercover agents posing as local mobsters claimed they had large amounts of illegally earned cash to hide from the IRS. They first met up with Texas businessman Cole, whose house was searched today. He claimed he had a group that did frequent laundering for several criminal organizations. Cole allegedly brought in his friend Spaniol, the reputed Yugoslavian agent and owner of this janitorial service in Texas, also searched today. The two men reportedly carried $100,000 in cash into Yugoslavia, then said they could transfer more through this New York branch of the Yugoslavian bank. Bank chairman Vinko Mir then allegedly helped phony up the paperwork on another $125,000.
It's important that it be known that the government is prepared to indict those banks which don't follow that law and are knowing participants in money laundering schemes such as this one.
But the customs agents were really shocked when Spaniol led them to his next helper, the Yugoslavian consul general in Chicago. Biedek allegedly used his diplomatic seal to smuggle cash and illegal high-tech equipment past customs inspection using huge suitcases known as jaws. The money flew aboard Yugoslavian airliners from Chicago and was transferred into several Zagreb banks, then wired back to Philadelphia after the smuggling ring took a cut.
As with any money laundering investigation, I think the important part is that this is only the beginning of an extended and complicated investigation.
But customs may have cracked more than a money laundering operation. Investigators say that Spaniol bragged about using his janitorial service, which does cleaning for U.S. defense contractors, as a means for stealing classified information. Rita Braver, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Another series of high-profile drug busts today, this time centered on heroin trafficking charges against 200 people on both sides of the Atlantic. Arrests were made in 8 American cities today and 9 locations in Italy. Drug enforcement agencies in both countries said they've been working undercover for 3 years to break this case, what they describe as a Sicilian connection involving mafia mobsters in the U.S. and in Italy. More doubts, nothing conclusive, but more doubts today about whether Oliver North will ever stand trial for conspiracy and some other criminal charges in the Weapons for Iran deal. Where'd the money go case? President Reagan today confirmed and defended his move in court to block the introduction of government documents that could be used as evidence. Mr. Reagan cited national security concerns and insisted no, this was not any backdoor way of getting North off the hook without a trial. Mr. Reagan also said today he won't give North a pretrial pardon.
From the very beginning, I said that to consider a pardon would leave, even if I did that, would leave them under a shadow of guilt for the rest of their lives. And I think we have to let the judicial process proceed.
It is now up to the judge in the case to decide whether Oliver North can stand trial if some classified documents are ruled out as evidence. That might put the burden back on President Reagan for what lawyers would then consider crunch time for the whole North case. An important Israeli go-between in the secret dealing of U.S. weapons to Iran and who reportedly once briefed George Bush in Jerusalem about arms for hostages has died in Mexico under strange circumstances. Details of the death of Amron Nir are still sketchy. but he reportedly died in the crash of a small plane in Mexico and was identified by a passport found on the body. This once key figure in the weapons for Iran deal had reportedly given a different name when he boarded the plane in Mexico. A $25 billion understanding. That's the price tag in the biggest corporate takeover ever, almost twice the previous record. But along with the exclamation points, last night's bidding war victory for R.J.R. Nabisco raised a lot of question marks. And when the dust clears, say experts, some people will be a whole lot richer, some people will lose their jobs, and you will be paying more for some familiar products. Richard Roth begins our coverage.
It's the biggest deal in history, but it didn't cheer the cookie makers this morning heading for work at a Nabisco factory in Atlanta.
We don't know tomorrow whether we're going to have a lock on this gate or not.
I think we'll probably lose our jobs.
There's more important morals in life than money. And I don't think we ought to be a human monopoly set.
No one's sure yet what will happen to the 120,000 employees of the food and tobacco giant. The buyout of R.J.R. Nabisco is testing the rules of the takeover game. Under the leveraged buyout plan accepted by Nabisco's board, here's what's supposed to happen. An investment group headed by the firm Kohlberg Kravis Roberts will buy up the company's stock for $25 billion, making the nation's 19th biggest public corporation a privately owned firm. But the company's assets are in effect mortgaged to pay for the purchase. The new private Nabisco will be more than $23 billion in debt. And to pay that off, parts of the company may be restructured, closed, or sold.
They're going to try to run R.J.R. Nabisco much leaner and tighter now. I assure you, you're going to be paying more for Oreo cookies.
However the cookie crumbles, Kohlberg Kravis Roberts hopes to make a fortune from the company's famous brands, well-established and profitable cigarette brands especially, whether they're kept or sold off. And stockholders, including many employees, reap a bonanza. Shares that sold for less than $56 6 weeks ago will be worth $109 when the deal goes through. No one has ever bought anything bigger, paid more, or gone deeper in debt to do it. And just the size of the deal tonight is ringing alarm bells.
Well, it sends signals that can be summed up in one word: greed.
Some analysts are saying it may demonstrate the best and the worst of Wall Street, the ability to make complex, creative financial deals at the risk of taking on huge debts. Richard Roth, CBS News, New York.
Making deals is the name of the game in America's financial centers, yet in every deal there's a downside. And more these days, critics are claiming that leveraged buyouts are a financial house of cards.
It will fall, and it's frightening. It's like the Twilight Zone, or it's like Alice through the Looking Glass.
Leveraged buyouts saddle a company with mountains of debt. If business goes bad, is in a recession, or interest rates go up, as they're doing right now, that debt can crush a corporation. The money spent on leveraged buyouts is skyrocketing, from $13 billion in 1984 to more than $100 billion this year, contributing to a corporate debt of almost $2 trillion to American banks, debt which gives some economists reason to worry.
This high degree of leverage was one of the several factors that contributed to the severity of the 1929-1933 Depression.
The head of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation is warning bankers that buyouts can be risky business.
We're telling them that they cannot concentrate on these areas, that the risk that they're taking must be such that it won't jeopardize the system.
It's not clear what buyouts cost the person on the job. Some corporations have actually hired more people. But when a company pares down to increase profits to pay off its debt, it often puts people out of work.
What's motivating these deals is one thing: greed. Even by the cynical standards of the 1980s, this kind of a deal gives greed a bad name.
While stockholders share the wealth in these mega deals, it's the lawyers and the deal makers who really cash in, making millions without manufacturing anything except the paper it takes to transfer control of the corporation.
I think the biggest cost, at least from my perspective, is the fact that an awful lot of productive energy and money is going into a very unprofitable part of our economic sector. In point of fact, we're not making things, we're not inventing things, we're not really creating value.
Critics charge it's a corporate America where cashing in has become more important than competition. Harry Smith, CBS News, New York.
And still to come on the CBS Evening News, Linda Tyra on the sickly condition of America's nursing homes. And David Dow on a new career for Jerome, Houston's pig in exile.
And I don't want anyone driving my XT while I'm away. Do you understand?
The Subaru XT6 has a powerful 6-cylinder engine, computerized full-time 4-wheel drive, and a design which makes it hard to resist.
Somebody drove my car. Who was it?
Up to $1,000 cash back from Subaru means a great deal on a great car.
Heartburn flaring up?
It never seems to stop.
How long have you been taking antacids?
Seems like forever.
Have you told the doctor?
Won't he just tell me to take these?
Not necessarily. Nowadays, doctors can diagnose and treat your heartburn and indigestion.
Now that's worth a visit to the doctor.
If you've been suffering from persistent heartburn, indigestion, or stomach pain, this could be a serious problem. Make an appointment to see your doctor now. Brought to you by Glaxo Pharmaceuticals.
Anywhere in the world you can dial direct, you can dial with MCI for up to 22% less than AT&T. At MCI, we don't just promise you the world, we give it to you for less. Until you call, you'll never know how much better a long-distance company can be.
Where can you find beautiful holiday sweaters and blouses in charmeuse and crepe de chine with sequins and beads? These and more are just $24.99. Now, only at Sears.
No shuttle launch today. They may try again tomorrow. Rain, cloud cover, and high winds high up forced NASA to scrub this morning's scheduled takeoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis on a classified Defense Department mission. Classified, yes, but secret, no. The Russians and everybody else seem to know that the main mission is to deploy a $500 million spy satellite to look down on the Soviets. NASA will take a late look at the forecast tonight before making any final decision on whether to fuel up the shuttle again and get the all-military crew of 5 up early for another go attempt tomorrow. The U.S. government is out today with what amounts to the first comprehensive consumer's guide to the nation's nursing homes. And many of the choices, as CBS News reporter Linda Tyra tells us, are far from choice.
Today's report on 15,000 nursing homes shows more than 2/3 failed to meet one or more minimum standards for health care or safety. The biggest problems, handling food and dispensing medicine improperly.
The quality of care in America's nursing homes today is better than it has ever been, but it can be yet better.
The report, the first of its kind, gives a snapshot of every nursing home that receives Medicare in the country. Each institution was inspected within the last 2 years. The government says it's intended as a consumer guide to be used by families as a first step in choosing a facility. Nationwide, the report found 42% of the nursing homes failed to handle or store food safely. 30% did not properly maintain the personal hygiene of their residents, and 29% did not give drugs according to doctor's orders. The nursing home industry didn't dispute the numbers, but argued they're irrelevant and misleading. They emphasize procedures, don't talk about quality, and the report does not distinguish between major and minor infractions.
It is a starting point, a step, but a step in the wrong direction.
But one leading spokesman for the elderly, 88-year-old Congressman Claude Pepper, said the report understates how bad the situation really is.
The time has come when the government of the United States now has the authority to see to it that these nursing homes must meet decent standards.
1.5 million Americans already live in nursing homes, a population that's growing every year. With more beds needed, the job of improving and keeping up the quality of care at these facilities is going to get even tougher. Linda Tyra, CBS News, Washington.
George Bush had breakfast today with a man who has a lot to say over what becomes of his agenda, Senator George Mitchell, Democrat of Maine, the new Senate Majority Leader. President-elect Bush indicated afterwards he's read the lips of Mitchell and others in Congress who say it's up to him to make the first moves to propose ways to knock back the big budget deficit. The president-elect said today that he would make the first moves. He didn't say what they would be. Good-natured First Lady-in-Waiting Barbara Bush took a bumpy hydraulic boom ride with two puppets today, 35 feet up, to put the crowning ornament on top of the national Christmas tree, just out back of the White House. She said she liked the ornament-placing job so much, a job she's done annually for the past 8 years, that she intends to keep on doing it as First Lady.
It takes time to get your gal to see the light. It takes time. It isn't always love at sight. From the first little glance till she's ready for romance. Remember, little man, it takes time. It takes time to make the coffee percolate. It takes time to get your gal to set the date. From the first moonlit walk till you get the baby talk.
The Elegance Collection from Citizen.
Yeah.
Want to take better pictures? Get the new Canon EOS 750, the only autofocus SLR with a flash like this and a system with computers and motors in every lens. Here, try it. Try the zoom. Easy, right? Well, that's EOS.
New Canon EOS 750. Photography, pure and simple. Buy EOS today with no money down, low monthly payments at participating Canon dealers.
This holiday, save an arm and a leg with Pam. Pam No-Stick Cooking Spray makes baking a whole lot easier. Pam, because how you cook is as important as what you cook.
Up to $1,000 cash back on a Subaru is worth more because Subaru's XT6 has the same engine design found in a Ferrari.
Because the Subaru Justy is the lowest priced four-wheel drive passenger car in America.
Up to $1,000 cash back from Subaru means a great deal on a great car.
In a New York courtroom today, searing testimony in a case that's become a national symbol for battered women and child abuse. On trial is a now disbarred lawyer accused of fatally beating the little girl whose face is now so hauntingly familiar. The testimony today came from the woman who was supposed to help him raise that child. Correspondent Richard Schlesinger reports.
It was the first time Hedda Nussbaum confronted her ex-lover Joel Steinberg in court. The picture she painted of life inside the house where 6-year-old Lisa Steinberg lived and died was horrifying. Nussbaum did not witness Lisa being beaten by Steinberg, but she says he brought the 6-year-old to her after Lisa was already unconscious.
She was lying in his arms limp. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "What's the difference what happened? This is your child. Hasn't this gone far enough?"
Nussbaum testified she didn't fully understand Steinberg, and then, while Lisa lay in a coma on the bathroom floor, he gave her some peculiar instructions.
Joel said, "Relax, just go with her, stay in harmony with her."
Nussbaum says she frantically tried to revive Lisa alone. Steinberg, she said, went out to dinner.
And I looked at the phone and I started thinking, should I call 911 or Dr. Heiss, who was the pediatrician? And I said, no, Joel said he would take care of her. He'd get her up when he got back. And I didn't want to show disloyalty or distrust for him, so I didn't call.
Ms. Nussbaum, you knew that Lisa was not asleep, didn't you?
Yes.
Nussbaum believes Steinberg had healing powers, powers she told him to use on Lisa when he came back from dinner.
Okay, you said you'd get her up. Get her up.
Lisa never did get up. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
In St. Petersburg, Florida today, a jury reached a verdict in the trial of Dr. Peter Rozier, charged in the death of his terminally ill wife, whom he said he tried to kill to end her suffering.
The defendant is not guilty.
Rozier said he administered overdoses of drugs to his cancer-stricken wife in January 1986. When she did not die, her father said that he smothered her with a pillow.
One was named Wilbur, the other Orville. Two brothers who shared a belief. A belief that when the fundamentals of aeronautics were properly applied, man could fly. At Raytheon, we haven't forgotten their lesson. Consider the revolutionary new Starship from Beech Aircraft, a Raytheon company. Many of the fundamentals are the same as the one built by Wilbur and Orville. Raytheon, where quality starts with fundamentals.
That'll be a charge.
We interrupt this purchase for a reminder.
Don't forget, Santa.
'Tis the season to be choosy.
La 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 la.
That's it.
So choose the card that actually pays you cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
That's a great idea.
You sure know how to pick 'em. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Gas pain, bloating. Gas-X has the strongest, fastest relief ingredient. Painful gas is like beer bubbles. Add the leading antacid. Add Gas-X. Only Gas-X gets rid of the gas. The strongest, fastest reliever for gas pain and bloating. Gas-X.
Up to $1,000 cash back on a Subaru is worth more because
Subaru has the best-selling import wagon in America. Because the Subaru Justy is the lowest-priced four-wheel drive passenger car in America.
up to $1,000 cash back from Subaru means a great deal on a great car.
President Reagan today named his outgoing National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Colin Powell, to be head of all U.S. Army ground forces in the continental United States. Powell was also promoted to the rank of four-star general, subject, of course, to Senate approval. In the United States and the Soviet Union, in China and Zimbabwe, this was the first World AIDS Day. It was organized by the World Health Organization and aimed at what is now an international scourge. CBS News medical correspondent Susan Spencer reports.
The day was meant to force people to look beyond statistics, beyond the 60,000 deaths, to the human side of the AIDS epidemic, to remember the dead, but to remember the living as well.
Don't let life get you down.
From Hyde Park in London to the AIDS Mobile in Amsterdam to the Curie Labs in Paris, the emphasis was on education to stop the spread of AIDS.
Из них свыше 8 миллионов.
Even Moscow joined in, conceding in a remarkably frank broadcast that the Soviets now have more than 100 confirmed cases. In the country with the most cases, school children were learning the basics.
Treat them like you would treat any other person, and you could get them by using drugs or sharing needles.
Volunteers in Los Angeles kicked off a month-long food drive for impoverished AIDS patients. San Francisco's mayor toured the wards at San Francisco General.
Well, there's a lot of people who care about you and want you to do well, so you just hang in there.
The former head of the president's AIDS commission urged that people stop thinking about AIDS in terms of the so-called risk groups, gays and drug users.
It's a great danger in this country to set those risk groups aside and say, well, do we really need them anyway? What an inhuman and tragic symptom of our times here.
A sentiment echoed at an official government ceremony in a public reading of letters from AIDS patients.
I want to be held in another's arms and for one brief moment feel that all is right with the world.
Remember this day, your children lost, and your children still fighting.
The ceremony ended with what may well become an anthem for the cause, its words so hauntingly fitting.
He's afraid. Let him rest, heaven blessed. Bring him home.
You're invited today to a colorful show of smoothness, of value, of style.
The Great American Road Show by Buick.
It's a powerful cast with exciting new stars, cars that were born to perform.
The Great American Road Show by Buick.
Riviera and Regal, Riata for sports. It's time you discovered them all.
Save up to $1,500 on select models with cash back and option packages.
There's only one place you'll find a furniture sale this big. All bedding and bedrooms, all dining rooms, all living rooms, all carpeting. It's all 10 to 50% off. Now, only at Sears.
I've got big news for prune lovers who also love cereal. Actually, it's kind of small news when you look at it. It's Sunsweet bite-sized pitted prunes. Try them on your cereal, and you'll agree Sunsweet bite-size is just the right size.
It's been almost a month since we told you about the 700-pound pig in Houston who was in hog heaven until someone squealed on him. Well, we're here now to tell you that the story is only beginning, and the pig is now a rallying point and symbol for a major problem confronting the nation. David Dow explains.
Look at that sweet boy.
Victoria Herberta drives 40 miles these days to visit Jeffrey Jerome, the white Yorkshire pig that used to live on her front porch near downtown Houston. Jerome was forced to become a country pig, a pig in exile, after city officials enforced a ban against barnyard animals.
Well, sure I miss him. He's like a child to me. He's like my son.
When the city evicted him from his purple house, Jerome had to be enticed out with bribes of Twinkies. Now his owner is worried. Country life doesn't seem to agree with Jerome. She says he's lost 75 pounds, down to a lean 625. Jerome misses home, says Herberta, and such staples as macaroni, hot dogs, and pizza.
And every day he got a pizza. Well, that doesn't happen out here. I know if he could get on the phone, he'd call Domino's, though.
But even in exile, Jerome has won some new friends.
Hi.
A Houston socialite and her colleagues who are helping the city's homeless, who remembered that Jerome's owner has also helped feed the homeless.
He's a medium through which Victoria Herberta is able to do her work on behalf of the homeless and the needy in our city.
Suddenly, the homeless hog became the symbol of the homeless problem, with his own billboard and his own listed telephone number and recorded message.
This is the phone of Jeffrey Jerome, who has been awaiting your call in hopes that you will help rescue him from his stall.
So far, city officials seem unimpressed and not inclined to bend the rules. For now, apparently, Jerome will remain a country pig, no matter how much he hogs the headline.
Isn't he darling?
David Dow, CBS News, Houston.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather, we hope you'll stay tuned now for 48 hours in the Rhino War, efforts to save endangered African rhinos from poachers. That's tonight at 8, 7 Central Time. See you then.
Rhino War. From the African range to the American ranch, a deadly battle to save a species. 48 hours tonight.
This is CBS.